Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Chinenye Moye. First, let's bring you the headlines. Stakeholders move to secure Nigeria's food security, targets food for all by 2050. National Assembly insists sitting members can seek higher offices in by-elections, says only voters can determine their leaders. And on the foreign scene, Ugandan president rules out trial of civilians in civil court, insists on military tribunal despite Supreme Court judgment. On assumption in office as U.S. President Donald Trump complained about America being used in trade by its partners, vowing to change the status quo via imposition of tariffs on goods coming into America. This is being enforced by the signing of an order by President Trump. Kula Mohammed tells us more.
The order, signed on Saturday by President Donald Trump, imposes tariffs on goods from Mexico, Canada, and China. The tariffs, considered hefty, will sit 25% on goods from Mexico and Canada and 10% on imports from China, potentially disrupting more than $2.1 trillion worth of annual trade. Trump said on Friday that there was little that the top three U.S. trading partners could do to forestall the tariffs. During a lengthy White House exchange with news reporters, President Donald Trump brushed aside the notion that his tariff threat were bargaining tools. He says America has big trade deficit with three of its major trade partners, Mexico, Canada, and China. He said the revenue is also a factor and the tariffs may be increased, and it's a lot of money coming to the United States.
Canada, Mexico, and China, which, as I mentioned, President Trump will implement a 10% tariff on China, have all enabled illegal drugs to pour into America. The amount of fentanyl that has been seized at the southern border in the last 2 years alone has the potential to kill tens of millions of Americans. And so the president is intent on doing this, and I think Justin Trudeau would be wise to talk to President Trump directly before pushing outlandish comments like that to the media.
Mexico's president says her government maintains a permanent dialogue with the United States amid President Trump's threat to impose tariffs on the country. Canadian oil will be taxed at 10%. More oil and gas tariffs are expected in mid-February.
The President does choose to implement any tariffs against Canada. We're ready with a response. A purposeful, forceful, but reasonable, immediate response. It's not what we want, but if he moves forward, we will also act.
Reports say retaliation is expected from the three U.S. trading partners. Kula Mohammed, NTA News.
U.S. Air Force plane lands in Honduras with dozens of migrants deported from the United States following Donald Trump's migrant crackdown. We have to welcome them with dignity, says Honduran Foreign Minister Eduardo Enrique Reina. Honduras had called for an urgent meeting of the Community of Latin America and Caribbean States to discuss migration, but was forced to cancel it after no prominent regional leader, except Colombia's President Gustavo Petro, confirmed their attendance as the region weighs the risk of openly confronting the firebrand U.S. president. The dispute saw Trump rapidly move to enact tariffs and other sanctions on Colombia after Petro blocked the arrival of U.S. military aircraft carrying deported migrants. Within hours, the White House said Bogota had folded to its demands. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni said on Saturday his government would continue to prosecute civilians in military tribunals even after the country's Supreme Court banned it. The court ordered that all ongoing cases be transferred to civil courts. Kolo Mohammed reports.
In a major decision, Uganda's Supreme Court banned all civil cases in military courts. The ruling was hailed by a lawyer of key opposition figure Kizza Besigye as offering some relief during an ongoing trial by the country's General Court Martial. In a statement to news agencies on Saturday, President Museveni described the court's decision as wrong and said military prosecutions reinforced the civil court and had helped in pacifying Karamoja, a region in Uganda's northeast plagued by armed violence. He said the military court helped Uganda to discipline Karamoja and that the country cannot abandon this useful instrument of stability. In other news, a medical transport jet flying a child who had just completed treatment for a life-threatening condition, her mother and 4 others crashed into Philadelphia's neighborhood shortly after takeoff, exploding in a fireball that engulfed several homes. Reports say everyone aboard the flight was from Mexico.
Stay in your home. Again, it's still an active scene and it's under investigation.
The child was being transported home, according to Shai Gold, jet rescue spokesperson, operators of the jet. The flight's final destination was Tijuana after a stop at Missouri. Kolom Hamad, NTA News.
Ahead of the 63rd session of the United Nations Commission for Social Development this February, a UN Social Development Workshop has held with focus on the social and economic dimensions for strengthening community resilience, accelerating government and civil society collaboration for social development. Deborah Balabubu reports.
In the words of former Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan, development is about transforming the lives of people, not just transforming the economics.
Where among the youth
Stakeholders here are reflecting on these words as they tackle issues to come up with recommendations for international interventions at the upcoming 63rd session of the United Nations Commission for Social Development.
If we all focus our mind to doing what I have just heard this morning, turning engagement into actions, if we can only do that, we will get there.
The workshop hopes to draw attention of relevant foreign support to meet the need to reconsider returning supports, building capacity, foster collaboration, and develop strategies to implement effective policies and programs aimed at achieving social development goals at national and international levels.
It is important that we identify the unique features, the unique challenges of social development in Africa and in Nigeria.
Where I come from in the north, we constantly had Aikingaya. People go out on Saturdays and clear the gutters or sweep the streets or do similar things. These are social development. They are not foreign concepts. So we need to bring it home.
As this blueprint says that you leave no one behind. And if we all take some level of responsibility, the whole world, I mean, everyone in every country, in every society, things will be better.
Stakeholders are optimistic that recommendations from the workshop will receive positive response at this year's UN session. In Abuja, Deborah Balagubo, NTA News.
With Nigeria's population estimated to hit 400 million by 2050, now is the time to find a sustainable food security system that can cater for the nation's vast population. At a stakeholders forum in Abuja, how to secure the buy-in of the state government in the food sufficiency drive of the federal government was discussed through the implementation of the Right to Food Act. Kelvin Ebonoye reports.
Facilitated by the Global Initiative for Food and Ecosystem Preservation, the forum brought together government officials, NGOs working in the food system space, climate change, representative agriculture ministries at the state levels, and other stakeholders. It was essentially to discuss the tenets of the Right to Food Act and how to facilitate its implementation across the 36 states and the FCT, with focus on improved budgetary allocation to agriculture, livestock development in a manner that shares the burden of food production among all tiers of government.
Not only as individuals, ministries, agencies, CSOs, but as a united force, committed to ensuring that no citizen of Nigeria goes to bed hungry in a country blessed with abundant agricultural potential.
Experts from diverse fields of agriculture shared insights, recommendations expected to help government improve the nation's food system to combat hunger. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has embarked on a sensitization campaign to educate school students on the dangers of illicit drug abuse and alcohol consumption with the flag off of Catch Them Young program. Haman Jabani reports that the campaign, which was held at Government Secondary School, Gwarimpa Estate, aims to discourage underage children from indulging in illicit drugs and alcohol.
The use of illicit drugs and alcohol among young people is a growing concern in society, which can lead to serious health problems, including addiction, mental health issues, and even death. It can also lead to poor academic performance, social problems, and legal. As a regulatory agency, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to educate and sensitize them on dangers of these substances, taking the students through series of presentations and interactive sessions. Director General of the agency, Mojishola Adeye, represented and other officials highlighted the devastating effect of illicit drug abuse and alcohol consumption on their health, education, and future.
What we are doing is just to pass the information to the young ones to make sure that they should stay clear of drug abuse. They should try to be very reasonable and being good members of the society.
So that the approach for the fight now will be to prevent children from going to consume those things instead of the other way around, where you have to discourage the manufacturers to not to manufacture in sachets.
Now with the coming of this safety club, it will be a good one to the students. The students will be ambassadors of the drug abuse campaign, so they will take it to other students.
Some of the students share their thoughts on drug abuse.
I have known some personal cases and my friends who take drugs and it doesn't have very good. This is actually good.
I'll make sure that with the team of prefects, I can enlighten them, go to each class and enlighten them that drug abuse is wrong and it's bad to our health.
The school NAFDAC Consumer Safety Club was inaugurated. The NAFDAC Catch Them Young program is a comprehensive and coordinated intensive program focused on secondary schools. Haman Jabani, NTA News.
And still talking health, tackling the scourge of cancer is gaining serious attention from relevant actors in the health sector and survivors' experiences. As Nigeria prepares to celebrate the 2025 World Cancer Day, assessing the country's response mechanisms for the prevention and management of the disease was the aim of the awareness work to choke cancer out of Nigeria. Elizabeth Omori reports.
Cancer, a large group of diseases that can start almost in any organ or tissues of the body when abnormal cells grow uncontrollably. Survey shows that an estimated 30 million new cancer cases are predicted for 2050, and lung, prostate, breast, and colorectal cancers are said to be the most aggressive. These facts necessitated this work to heighten advocacy on early diagnosis, financial and psychological support. Favor is a breast cancer survivor.
I decided to know what the lump was. That was when I went for a screening. So when I had the biopsy results came out and I was told I had breast cancer.
Increasing adoption of unhealthy eating habits and high cost of oncology treatment, medical experts insist promote the prevalence.
We should begin to look at precision medicine. Many people are coming to the hospital presenting it at stage 4, at stage 3, for very obvious reasons. Even though we know that precision medicine is very expensive, that is the reason some doctors feel they should not prescribe. But please, I think the patients should know there should be awareness on precision medicine.
National Health Insurance Scheme, but it is not covering everything. And we have another huge challenge. Even when you're registered, you may go to the hospitals concerned and you will not see the medicines there.
I want to also appeal to the college that they're actually training the specialists to actually make it possible that more specialists will be trained.
They recommend medical checks as well as healthy lifestyle. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
The federal government has expressed its willingness to collaborate with Akwa Ibom State to achieve its mandate of providing clean water, sanitation, hygiene, and flood control for the benefit of the people. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Ustev, made this known during a courtesy visit to the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Basi Eno, at the government house, Uyo. The minister commended the Akwa Ibom State government for accepting to host the 31st National Council on Water Resources and Sanitation, describing it as a vital platform for advancing national progress in the water and sanitation sector. Professor Utsev reiterated federal government's commitment to partnering Akwa Ibom State to enhance wash infrastructure and flood mitigation efforts, stating that the Nkari Dam is currently 55% completed and has been prioritized for completion under the current administration, with over 500 hectares of irrigation potential and a reservoir capacity of 3.5 million cubic meters. The dam will significantly enhance irrigation farming, water supply, fisheries, and food security in the region. Governor Umo Obasi Eno of Akwa Ibom State expressed optimism that the state is committed to achieving President Tinubu's developmental vision in the water and sanitation sector. And here is the news on NTA International. We'll take a break here. We'll be back shortly. Many thanks for staying on. The chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters, INEC, Adebayo Balogun, has said that no law is stopping any serving lawmaker or political office holder from contesting by-elections in the country. He stated this in Abuja at a press briefing while reacting to the recent statement by the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, when he pleaded with political parties to start fielding fresh candidates for by-elections into state and federal legislature instead of serving lawmakers that will warrant by-elections to fill their seats.
It's not part of our law, so it's an advice. So it's either you take the advice if it's convenient for you, or you don't take it. Yeah, an advice is not a law, and I don't think anybody who has a candidate that wants to vote for will feel good if they say his or her own candidate has been disqualified by the INEC chairman unlawfully. So I think I advise anybody who is interested in contesting to continue with his ambition and let the people in their own constituency make their decision. So, and I think we cannot even, no party can put that into their law, as putting that in their law for now.
The National Council of Women's Societies has inaugurated young ambassadors as advocates to spread the campaign against gender-based violence in secondary schools in Nasarawa State. Ngozi Technical reports that this is the maiden project of the recently installed president of the council.
Inculcating into these young minds the nation's core value of respect for every human, especially the feminine, these women, under the auspices of the National Council of Women's Societies, believe will stem the tide of gender-based violence in Nigeria. This is why they took the sensitization campaign against the societal menace of sexual and gender-based violence to schools in Nasarawa State, where they inaugurated ambassadors to spearhead the advocacy.
How they should spread the issue on GBV so that there will be no victims in this local government again, and gradually it will spread to the other 5 local government areas in the FCT and Nigeria as a whole.
Local government stand to gain a lot because our guests, especially the young ones coming up, they need to be educated about what is happening in the society.
With such eagerness and determination, the students are ready to preach the message among their peers.
I don't believe in gender-based violence. I believe in equality between both male and female. Women are expected to be able to impact to our nations and also be respected as being a woman.
I've learned that we, the girls, if we have any problem, we should not keep it to ourselves. We should tell people around us what is going on.
Earlier, the president of the NCWS, in company of other delegates, paid homage to the local government council chairman and were received by the Vice Chairman Ibrahim Bulus. Ngozi Technical, NTA News.
Plans are on the way to restore some mangrove sites in Bayelsa State, identified to have been lost to oil exploration. Director General National Council on Climate Change Secretariat Nkiruka Maduekwe, on site assessment visit to the state, said regeneration of the mangroves will help restore the people's livelihood and lost biodiversity. Charles Afa reports.
Dark clouds, colored and polluted waters. Oil spills continue to choke mangroves, lives underwater, and communities along Bayelsa's coastal lines. The call here, Nembe, it is one of the coastal lines in Bayelsa, housing one of Nigeria's largest mangrove forests. I'm told here there are more species of mangroves along its corridor, from Nembe 4 to Santa Barbara, Brass, and Ikeremo. Oil spills could be seen over 10 sub-kilometers on the waters. This has gone on for years now, and that is why you see this entire water space, hectares of mangroves gone. But the good news is efforts are underway to regenerate these mangroves. The Special Presidential Envoy on Climate Change and Director General, National Council on Climate Change Secretariat, Nkiruka Maduekwe, is touring the 9 Niger Delta regions to offer support to states on mangroves protection and conservation.
You can see the impact of pollution on the mangroves. When we were coming, you saw a very vast mangrove forest, but in this particular area, you can see is a result of pollution on the mangroves. And so when we're talking about restoration, mangrove restoration, these are the areas we could start off with. The fact that there are no mangroves here, and you can see some dead stems, and so the time to act again, like I've said, is now. These are pinpoints for us, and so these are the things we're going to work towards.
Along with the Commissioner for Environment, Bayelsa State, there is clearly an ambitious plan to bring life back to those in despair. As we ride for several hours on these waters and canals, and as the nights began to fall upon us, one thing remained certain: the struggle of Bayelsa's mangroves, riverine communities, and aquatic lives against oil pollution in these areas will continue to linger if this is allowed to continue. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
The Nigeria Forest Security Service, NFSS, is adopting cutting-edge technology to boost its intelligence gathering and operations with a view to further strengthen its collaboration with the armed forces and security agencies to enhance Nigeria's security architecture. Commander General NFSS Joshua Osatimehin affirmed this at the 2025 annual meeting of the service in Abuja. Olajide Bello reports.
The first meeting with a new nomenclature as Nigeria Forest Security Service. With renewed vigor, the officers and men take stock of the successes and challenges in the year 2024 with a view to repositioning the service to carry out its functions more professionally in the year 2025. One after the other, areas of concern that needs to be addressed, including the need for a presidential assent to the NFSS bill so as to be officially absorbed in Nigeria's security architecture, was brought to the fore.
So that if the Nigeria Forest Security Service can be signed into law, incorporated into national security architecture to cover the missing link, it will boost the security of our forested region.
These criminal elements find these rural communities as a fertile ground, or as a safe haven to carry out this act of criminality, and they have the forest to hibernate, and we're talking about Nigerian Forest Security Service. It means that they have that knowledge. They understand the subject matter of training how to safeguard our forests.
Recounting with nostalgia, the Commander General said the NFSS today is the brainchild of Vice President Kashim Shettima as a senator, and just like Oliver Twist, they want the Vice President to complete the good works he started. For the year 2025, the NFSS says it is no retreat, no surrender, as the service will continue to ensure Nigeria's vast ungoverned forests are safe for more agricultural practices with a view to contributing more to the country's gross domestic product. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And up next is Sunday's weather prospects for Nigerian cities and other parts of the world. And this is where we end the news. Many thanks for watching. I am Chinenye Oye.